It is 1914. You are the Tsar of Russia. Your empire is vast, your army is massive, but your problems are entirely out of control. World War I is raging across the continent. The trenches are deep, the artillery is deafening, the mud is thick, wet, and absolutely everywhere. You are losing men, you are losing ground. You need a miracle weapon to break the agonizing stalemate. You need something terrifying. You need a machine that can crush a battlefield like a hollow tin can. So you look at a bicycle, you look at a tricycle, and you decide to build the largest armored vehicle in human history. You think you are building a metal god of war. You think you are funding a weapon that will roll straight over the German trenches and drive directly to Berlin. You think you have secured your legacy, but you have not. You have just built a 40-ton death trap that will never see a single day of combat. Here is exactly how history went down, completely unsketched. The mastermind behind your new superweapon is a man named Nikolai Lebedenko. He is an engineer. He is incredibly ambitious. He is a fantastic salesman. He is also completely obsessed with giant wheels. Lebedenko looks at the early, heavy, clumsy tank prototypes being developed by the British. He thinks they are too slow. He thinks they are too vulnerable. They use caterpillar tracks. Lebedenko hates caterpillar tracks. He believes they are prone to jamming and snapping. He believes the undeniable future of modern warfare is a giant, heavily armored tricycle. He draws up the blueprints. The machine features two massive spoked front wheels. They are 29 feet tall. They look like the wheels of a nightmare Ferris wheel. The rear wheel is a small, heavy roller. It is barely 5 feet high. The main hull of the vehicle sits suspended between these wheels like a giant steel bat. It is designed to be armed with heavy cannons. It is designed to be bristling with machine guns. It looks completely ridiculous. It looks structurally impossible. You absolutely love it. But Lebedenko has a problem. He needs money. He needs a lot of money. He needs your money. So he builds a small, highly detailed wooden scale model of his tricycle. He brings this toy to your lavish winter palace. He winds up a small gramophone spring hidden inside the wooden hull. He sets it on the floor. The little wooden tricycle rolls across the thick, expensive royal carpet. It approaches a stack of heavy historical books. It climbs over them with ease. You are completely mesmerized. You are acting like a child on Christmas morning. You are entirely sold on the illusion. You open the royal treasury. You hand Lebedenko 250,000 rubles. It is an astronomical sum of money. It is an absolute fortune. It is enough capital to properly equip thousands of freezing, starving soldiers on the front lines. Instead, you are buying a giant metal tricycle. It is a masterful stroke of financial suicide. Construction begins immediately. The year is 1915. Lebedenko knows the enemy has spies everywhere. He builds the monster in separate, disconnected pieces, and he ships these heavy metal fragments to a dense, heavily guarded pine forest 60 miles outside of Moscow. The area is entirely locked down. The workers assemble the machine in total secrecy. The final result is absolutely staggering. The tank is wider than a modern house. The front wheels block out the sun. The armor is thick, heavy, and bolted tight. To power this beast, Lebedenko needs serious muscle. Russian engines are too weak, so he uses two captured German Maybach engines lifted straight out of a downed Zeppelin. They output 240 horsepower each. The beast weighs over 40 tons. The crew climbs into the suspended steel belly. You name it, the Tsar Tank.
It is supposed to strike ultimate fear into the hearts of your enemies. In reality, it mostly just confuses your own engineers.
The day of the grand test arrives. August 1915. The forest floor is cleared. The highest-ranking Russian generals gather to watch. The air is thick with anticipation. Lebedenko himself is present. He orders the mechanics to start the stolen German engines. They roar to life with a deafening mechanical scream. Black smoke shoots into the air. The giant 29-foot front wheels begin to slowly, grindingly turn. The Tsar Tank lurches forward. It moves. It actually moves. It rolls straight toward a large, mature pine tree. It hits the trunk. It snaps the tree like a dry twig and rolls right over it. The generals erupt into cheers. You are thrilled. Your investment is paying off. You are visualizing total victory. But then, the unforgiving laws of physics finally arrive to collect their debt. The design of a tricycle relies entirely on weight distribution. The front wheels are massive. They have incredible leverage. They can roll over trenches, trees, and troops. But the back wheel is tiny. And because of the heavy engines and the thick steel armor in the rear of the hull, that tiny 5-foot roller is supporting an absurd amount of weight. The Russian ground is soft. The mud is deep. As the massive front wheels pull the 40-ton beast forward, the tiny back wheel acts like a massive steel anchor. It digs deep into the soft earth. It goes deeper. It sinks. It stops entirely. The driver pushes the throttle to the absolute maximum. The 240-horsepower Maybach engines scream in mechanical agony. The giant front wheels spin helplessly in the dirt. They throw massive chunks of mud into the air. They push, they pull. Nothing happens. The machine does not budge. The 40-ton superweapon is completely, hopelessly trapped in a small, shallow ditch. The test is an absolute catastrophe. The cheering stops. The generals go completely silent. Lebedenko panics. He orders his men to dig it out. They grab shovels. They dig for hours. It does not work. He brings in more engines to try and tow it out. It does not work. He brings in teams of heavy draft horses. It does not work. He brings in dozens of exhausted soldiers to push. It does not work. The mud does not care about your rank. The mud is undefeated. Your quarter-million-ruble investment is now permanently glued to the forest floor. You refuse to accept the failure immediately. Lebedenko begs for more money to fix it. He wants to upgrade the engines. He wants to redesign the rear wheel. But your empire is crumbling. You are bleeding cash. You finally cut his funding. You abandon the project. You abandon the tank. The crew leaves it right where it sank. It sits in the forest. It rusts. The wood rots. The steel turns orange. For 8 long years, the giant metal skeleton haunts the Russian woods. Local villagers call it the metal ghost. They tell stories about the giant wheels looming in the fog. The world moves on without your tricycle. The British perfect the caterpillar track. Tanks become the defining weapon of modern ground warfare. Meanwhile, your empire completely collapses. The revolution comes. The Bolsheviks rise. You lose your crown. You lose your empire. You lose your life. But the tricycle remains firmly stuck in the mud. Finally, in 1923, the new Soviet government stumbles upon your great weapon.
They do not see a god of war. They see raw materials. They dismantle the rusting behemoth. They tear it apart piece by piece. They melt it down for scrap metal. The most intimidating, ambitious, and expensive war machine in Russian history is destroyed to make basic farming tools. You wanted a shortcut to victory. You ignored basic engineering. You let a tiny wooden toy dictate the military strategy of an entire empire. You funded a massive, expensive illusion. You thought you could outsmart physics, and physics left you stuck in the mud. History repeats itself. Your bad choices don't have to. History Unsketched. Badly drawn, well told. Subscribe if you want to join the lineup. It means a lot.